Hello and welcome, Andy and Jared, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Well, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry spoke to the press earlier today. Also, Andrew Berry also told the press that the team will tender restricted free agent Kareem Hunt. We will discuss the latest for the Browns. Greg Robinson was arrested for transporting 157 pounds of weed. I have so many opinions. We are going out on a limb to say he's probably not coming back with the Browns. That's just a guess, Andy. Cavs reassign Beilein, which that's just even weird to say. Reassign Beilein. It's just strange.
It's not fired.
Yeah, not fired. Very weird. JB Bickerstaff is the new head coach in Cleveland, and he's now 2-1 after a thrilling win on Monday night. Cavs coming back from 19 down in the fourth to put out the heat. And finally, the latest with the Tribe at the very end. We'll get into that. But first, nothing says fun like Indy in late February. Let's talk NFL Combine. Oh, God, and the Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
This is in addition to a longer podcast, and let me just make this for people. That was too plain Jane. I mean, I already miss Dorsey. Dorsey had very entertaining press conferences, and these guys are very nice guys, but from an entertaining press conference standpoint, Barry and Stefanski are very blah. Here are the key notes to take out of all this stuff today, though.
Yeah.
Let's just get right to it. I know they're talking to Joe Schobert, but I thought Andrew Berry put in some interesting points about how it needs to make sense not only for the Browns, but for his family.
Yeah.
He is going to talk to Joe's team. I just don't get the vibe that's coming back. This is a gut guess. Both Berry and Stefanski, which we'll get into, seem excited about Njoku coming back. Sounds like they both
I know
want to
you
see
love
everything.
that.
Whatever. I mean, get excited.
I mean, the statement was too, though, that they're still looking. I mean, they're keeping all options open, right? I mean, it's they weren't turning off the idea of drafting a tight end. Is all.
Yes, but at the same time, they both made emphasis about how they want David Njoku to really get a good look.
And let's face it, they are going to draft a tight end. It might be in the later rounds, looking to replace some of the other guys that I have already forgotten. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, look, simply stated, you can take any of these comments, but Njoku, they made a very hammering point to bring out that they think they have something there. I mean, they really did.
Yeah.
Jarid and Mason Rudolph, the Browns are ready to move on. Barry made that a big point in his press conference, saying, let me get to it. Miles and I had a very conversation, got a good conversation, and he's very determined to put 2019 behind him and focus on 2020. Meaning we are tired of talking about Mason Rudolph in that situation. So Barry really put out that fire today. And then the last thing is Hunt. I thought that was the most, if there was news breaking, that was the one. But they're going to tender him somehow. So he is going to have some sort of emphasis of coming back to Cleveland. Anytime you tender a player, that gives the percentage points up of him coming back. So maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe Hunt will be coming back more. All that to be said, on a day that had a lot of buzz for the Browns in other ways, which we won't get into, but when it comes into this with Barry and Stefanski, these guys are very bright-minded. They have a plan in place. They both like Njoku. Again, they're both very plain Jane.
Yeah.
You can take all these comments for what it's worth. You can decipher them, whatever else. They both really gave you little tidbits, I guess. Again, I thought Schobert was interesting, because I think Barry really revealed that they are going to think hard about Schobert. But again, I thought he gave more positive comments about Njoku compared to Schobert. Njoku, they seem very high on. The other thing that kind of came out of that conversation is, and Jared kind of hit upon it, the Browns are looking not just to put Njoku in places to succeed. They are looking to add tight ends to this offense, which is needed. So there's going to be other players. I mean, Jared, you're right. There's going to be other players in this team that are going to be coming in. And then again, I'll hit on the last note. Kareem Hunt's, when every time you tender a player, no matter what the tender is, the chances go up. Not significantly, but they go up of him coming back. So the Browns are definitely putting a flyer out on him. So Kareem Hunt coming back to Cleveland now, those stakes have changed again. I think they look good. They're not great, they're not perfect, but they look good. I mean, anytime you get tendered, no matter what it is,
No.
that gives a sign that they're going to give this a try.
Again, I'm curious. What does it matter at this point when did he's? I mean, does any of is there a suspension looming? I guess is the question.
Sure.
And what is that going to look like? And where is he at in the substance abuse program? And I don't know, Andy. I don't have an opinion. I don't.
Well,
I don't.
I would rather them bring someone like Schobert back compared to Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
I just think Kareem Hunt. I was not a fan of him ever coming back, and I gotta admit, the more and more I thought about what just happened, I'm just wary of this situation. If I'm being honest,
Let's put it this way, Andy. If they bring Kareem Hunt back and they let Schobert go, I don't want to ever fucking hear change the culture from anyone.
I agree.
From anyone out of that building ever again.
I agree.
Don't you dare tell me you're changing the culture. You got to change the culture. We got to work on our culture. Fix the culture. Don't say it. The word call. Don't say it at all. Don't say it at all. Because there is nothing that highlights not changing the culture like keeping a guy like Hunt around who is really on that Josh Gordon path and letting a linebacker like Joe Schobert go who has done nothing but bust his ass for that team, period. Now, you can talk about output on the field and quality and the risk reward and all that stuff. You go ahead, talk about it all day. But if we're strictly talking about changing the culture in the building, don't even say it. Don't say it again.
Kareem Hunt has more star power. He's got more rocket fuel. But
sure.
Joe Schobert's more consistent and has earned the contract, for being honest.
Yep.
Again, I just have learned I like Kareem. I'm rooting for Kareem.
Same.
It does not mean letting him go is a bad thing. And I just think that is the right thing to do for the Browns.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to go on links. I'm not going to be crying or stomping my feet if he comes back, but that's what I think here. And the David Njoku thing, I'm glad to hear all this stuff. I have seen enough, but whatever. If you think, I think that's California dreaming. I really, really do with Kareem Hunt. Reminds me of what they said about Peppers last year, and Peppers never even played it down.
Well, it's very strange at this point because here's the thing. When you're bringing it up this late in the game, it makes you wonder. I don't know. I guess I would lean towards why even bother? Let's put it this way. If they don't sign him at this point, then why did you even say this shit this late in the game?
I agree.
That's
well,
where
I think
I'm
they're going to.
So,
I took more, and here's the last little interesting thing, and then everything else I thought was kind of blah.
Yeah.
Barry would not commit on the record, which I understand why, of picking up Miles' first rounder option, his fifth-year option. Now, that's typical business, so it's not unusual.
Right.
I will say, though, that would be one where I almost roll my eyes, be like, he's coming back. Let's just put out that fire right now. He didn't put it out, and I get it. And he didn't certainly blaze a glory either, but I just thought it says, I wouldn't disclose any of those kind of business decisions in this setting, Barry said. But it's safe to say we view both those guys, both being Njoku and Garrett, very, very talented members of our roster, and we look forward to seeing what they can do over the next few years, end quote. And that's as generic as you can get. One thing that I come away from this whole thing is they're definitely giving support to Myles Garrett, but I'm going to say this again, and you'll hear it on the next run here in a few minutes. The Browns have not given overarching love to Myles Garrett.
Right.
I don't think they've given him a soft landing for this.
Right.
And
well, I mean, it's hard to get a good
Hmm.
read on it because there is definitely a corporate company feel and tone coming out of Berea.
Oh, there really is.
A
That's
very
a good point.
polished, a very whitewashed, a very corporate feel coming out of there right now. And so we'll see how that plays. We'll see how it plays because you've got guys that don't show their hands, that don't talk. You've got the Bill Belichick's of the world that give 2-word answers and mumble them out and don't give you any more. Let's see how this mentality and this approach plays out.
Yep.
It sucks for Andy when he's watching the pressers.
Oh, it's boring as hell. This is so. I mean, John Dorsey was not the most entertaining press conference, but this is, man, oh man. Like Stefanski's not bad, but boy, Barry is, man. He says some pretty plain Jane answers right there. For all that's worth, though, again, I think the Browns should be showing more love to Myles Garrett. You'll hear why in a few minutes later down in the podcast that we talk about. But I think they should be showing more love.
I just want to speak on this too, by the way. Sidebar real quick. If you hear the slapping chompers in the background, my boxer just randomly walked in and ate something off the floor and was just chomping away at it. So there you go. A little extra something for you listeners. Let's transition to this whole Greg Robinson and 157 pounds of weed. When that happened, Andy, I instantly said, like, it's 2020. It's legal in some states. It's medical in others. Why do you need 157 pounds unless you are like really trying to move weight and you're dealing drugs? And why are you dealing drugs when you're in the NFL and you're already making this money? All of it is just absurd to me. It's absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah. I'm gonna make this quick and easy. This was the beginning and the cherry on the sundae, whatever your phrase is. Goodbye, Greg. Goodbye.
Like, holy shit.
And by the way, he was transporting it not to Mexico. He was trying to get to Louisiana faster, so he decided to take Interstate 10, which tangles on the border, and that's where he got caught. If he would have gone on a different interstate, which would have been a little bit more north of the border, he would have never been caught. He instead decided to go on a faster route, and that's where the Border Patrol got him.
Oh, my.
So it wasn't like he went to Mexico.
So absurd.
He was just trying to go on a faster route with weed. I mean, look.
Yeah, is being an idiot a defense?
It saved him 30 minutes, sir. 30 minutes, so.
Oh, God. 30,
Talk about some
30
life.
minutes for 10 years.
Maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more.
more.
Exactly.
So, yeah, goodbye to Greg. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I mean,
Goodbye
in all
to Greg.
fairness, the bummer of this situation is the Browns were never going to re-sign him anyways.
No,
he was Browns by name only, and just the fact that the Browns name is tied to this is really kind of a really like another one, because everyone who shared it as, Browns player caught with 157 pounds of weed.
Well, yeah.
And that's just like, just
again, cherry on a Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cherry on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do.
Hey, we do recognize that there is one other topic that a lot of you might want us to talk about right now. We are not going to discuss that today, but we will discuss it, I believe, the next episode, depending on Andy's mood with it and how we feel. I think I'm pretty reserved in my opinions on it. You know what it is. We all know what it is. We'll get to it. We're not going to avoid it. But we're just going to let things cool off, I think, a little bit. I just wanted to throw that out there too, Andy.
I have too much personal ties to that story, so I don't want to comment at all.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Let's go on to the Cavs. So Coach Beilein is reassigned as a coach. He goes into the front office. Hey, look, this is a pretty simple, straightforward story here. I had been supporting Beilein and really wanted him to be the guy and all that other stuff. It's one thing to step down. He basically didn't want the job anymore. From everything I'm reading, it sounds like this was more Beilein at times than the Cavs. So this was not a pure Cavs move. Beilein did not want to be there anymore, and I gotta admit, I'm disappointed. I really supported Beilein a lot, and it's not just because of that. I just think it's weird, Jared, that he gets reassigned in this organization the way he did. At that point, why not just keep coaching? I just don't understand. No one's saying it. It's a little bit of quit. It's just a little bit of quit.
Well, yeah, and I did see the headline. I don't remember who wrote the article, but it was, that there was equal quit from the veterans as there was with him quitting. Beilein quit on the Cavs, and the veterans quit on him, which is why I find Kevin Love's quote about, it took a real man to do that today. Everybody you talk to will say they respected the hell out of him.
Yes.
Kevin, let's be real about this. There were some weird temper tantrums that went on throughout the season with Kevin. And so
Multiple.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Are we sure? And maybe they're separate. Maybe they're unrelated. I don't know. But the way that it looked, the optics made it look like he wasn't happy. He wanted out. And you can only attribute that to the growing pains of a new coach and young players. I don't know.
I was going to say that too. The team didn't support him. Charles Barkley made some interesting comments I thought were accurate, that, the team quit on Beilein. And again, but I think Beilein quit on the team too. I think you got to prove your point. The way the Beilein era really came in, I thought was exciting. It gave vision and everything else. All that to be said, he never sold it to the players, and that's half that job. You have to sell to your players, especially in the NBA. It is a players-run league. So if you don't sell to the players, you're sunk. Doesn't matter how good of a coach you are or with X's and O's. If you can't sell to your players, you're sunk. And let's all be fair, slugs and thugs was the beginning and end. After that comment happened, Beilein really never had the same zip, never had the same vibe or positivity.
Well, and let's also recognize the fact that we know that it did seem like a great idea, on paper with the way that things were rolled out. But we all know the difficulties that college coaches find trying to move into the NBA nowadays. I mean, it's just not done that way anymore. These guys are groomed in the NBA and brought up in the NBA and get their coaching jobs by going through that pathway. They don't come up through the college ranks and then go into the NBA like they used to. That's just not how it's been for 30 years. I mean, 40 to 30 years.
I'll even double down. If in today's world, if you don't adapt to the players in that league specifically, you are sunk. It does not matter how well you can coach.
Yeah.
David Blatt's not that terrible of a coach. He couldn't get the team to buy in. If Beilein had the same problem, it does not matter how well you can coach. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you can't sell to your team in the NBA what you're going to do, and they don't buy in, it's going to go with how it went to the
and you're an outsider if you're coming in from anywhere but from another NBA organization, and work your way up as a coach throughout some of those teams. You're probably looked at as an outsider. That's what it feels like.
Well, it does, but you look at Brad Stevens. It's worked really well. Billy Donovan's worked well for the Thunder.
It can.
It can work well. I actually think it's about selling it to the players. And Beilein never sold to the players. And again, no one wants to say it. Slugs and Thugs was a big, big moment in his little career in Cleveland. It just changed everything. It just changed everything.
Yeah.
That day, everything changed. And it really never felt the same after that. Because it was hard to get your grasp around what was going on. There was this weird vibe. All by then, we all knew that Beilein was a hire that Gilbert had, and Gilbert had the stroke over the summer. So it's really hard to figure out how this was going to go down the road, and that's where I think we landed. All that to be said, again, I agree he showed guts talking to the team. I liked how he approached this. I like how he had the proper words on the way out. I just think he should have tried coaching, and he didn't want to. And again, I'll say it: if you don't want to be a coach of any team like this in this major level, you got to go. You got to go. So he had to go. There's no question about that. That was the right move. Okay, Bickerstaff's in. They've won 2 out of 3. Everything should be pointing to the Monday night win. That was a great win for the Cavs. They were down 19 points. They were about ready to get slapped in the face again by the Heat. It looked embarrassing. The Saturday night game was awful. Cavs just showed nothing. And really, what really excites you, not just for the Cavs, because Tristan Thompson's been a big part of this. And Tristan Thompson's a little leery because we don't know if he's coming back. But especially on Monday night, that was a great breakout game for Kevin Porter. He really played well in the fourth quarter, really played well in overtime. He had 2 big shots to tie the game. Then he hit another 3 to give him the lead. He made big plays down the stretch. Kevin Porter looked incredible. Garland had some good plays in that game too. He had 6 points in the fourth quarter. He played really well too. The Cavs played a complete game, and Love was in those big spots. And, the only thing I'm going to pick on with the Cavs, the only little thing is I love Sexton. Love him. But late in the fourth quarter, he had a chance to get a big rebound, and he let the ball slip through his hands in a big spot. Yeah. Jarid, he has missed shots. He has missed rebounds. He has missed passes in big spots. Sexton has got to start playing better in tight spots. And that play could have cost the Cavs a game. The ball was up there. He made the rebound, and it slipped through his fingers. It was high school, college type stuff, not NBA. He has got to be able to squeeze the orange in that spot. Everybody talked about on social media after it happened. He got away with it. And by the way, that would have been talked about today and throughout the week if he doesn't make that play, if the Cavs don't win. They won, so he gets away with it. And I love Sexton. And Sexton was the leading scorer in this game. He's a good player. But these are the kind of plays that's why he's getting crapped on by others.
Right.
He has got to start making plays bigger in big spots. He's missed some shots, he's missed some passes, and now he's missing rebounds. You got to play better in big spots. You have to play big in big spots if you want to be that kind of player.
Yeah.
Period. End of sentence. End of sentence.
Real quick before we move to the Tribe, Bickerstaff, is he going to stay on next year? What do you think?
The interim has been removed. They're working the contract. I think everything should be okay there. Look, the Washington win was a good win too. The one thing that he has done nicely, which Beilein did not do, and Beilein did not show again, he is sticking with lineups in the second half that work. He is not interchanging players. If a lineup gets hot in the fourth quarter, he is sticking with it. It worked in the Wizards game when they were behind, and it worked in the Heat game when they were behind.
Yeah, if you're working that plus minus, and then just let it roll. Let it roll. Let it roll. In fact, they're young enough. They're young enough. Let it roll.
Well, yeah, and that's something that
that builds confidence.
About. He was getting gassed at the end of the game, and they said it was a really good experience for him to see how he can get over that hump. The Porter thing is so exciting as a fan. Yeah. It's hard not to get excited about seeing him, what he's doing. And again, the other thing too that I really like from this new look Cavs is the Drummond trade, and it's not Drummond's numbers, but I can't state this enough, and I stated this, so I'm going to take credit for it. Because Drummond is starting, and because Drummond is playing, Tristan is allowed to come off the bench, and he looks refreshed at big spots.
Yeah.
People aren't looking at the bigger package for Drummond. It's not that he brings numbers and rebounds, and he's a good rebounder, and he can score points. It's that he gives breaks to Tristan to allow him to play in the fourth quarter refreshed. If you see Tristan now, it wasn't like Tristan wasn't playing the fourth quarter later in these games early in the year. He was, but he was tired. When Drummond can come in and spell and take real minutes off a body, this is what you get.
Yep.
The Drummond trade, I've heard some bickering why they do this. I'm like, you are lost. Drummond coming in really adds, for one thing, Tristan Thompson. Now, re-signing Tristan, and I don't think he's coming back, but that's a bigger thing. You talk about a big miss next year. The Cavs replacing that guy is going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting to see what the Cavs do there, because that is a big piece gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's coming back. So anyways, that's for next year. Bickerstaff's done a very nice job with this team so far. You can't get excited enough about Kevin Porter. And Garland had his moments, and even with the missed rebound, Sexton did lead the team in points in the Monday night win. Complete team victory. And if you watch the first 7 quarters against the Heat, it's amazing they won that game on Monday night. Jared, it was embarrassing on Saturday and Monday. Oh my God. That was embarrassing. It was almost becoming Clipper-like on Saturday night. Dwayne Wade coming out on the floor as they're retiring him, and oh my gosh, and the Cavs are down 33 points, and it's like, Jesus, feels like 45. just awful. So anyways, that's the state of the Cavs. I've done my Beilein. Good news for everybody who loves this. I will never talk about Beilein again for the Cavs until he goes somewhere else. So by the way, he won't be for the Cavs very long. He will be in destination somewhere soon in the NCAAs. He's just too good of a coach.
Right.
Okay.
Cleveland Indians.
Tribe tidbits again. Mandy Bell.
Loving the fact that Mandy Bell is all over my Twitter feed lately. Unless she's reporting an injury, then I'm bummed out. But I'm stoked about this season. I really am. And everything that I've noticed so far, outside of you and I feel like a lot of people are down on the Indians this year. And I am not down at all.
The only thing is the injuries.
Right.
The Indians have injuries. Other than that, I don't have anything negative. So let's get to let's do the reverse. Let's do a little negative first. Clase's a little sore, not a big deal. Savali's a little banged up. He's got a groin sore. His groin is sore, but that's not a big deal. He should be fine. Daniel Johnson, for those who are looking for him in the early box scores, he did tweak his ankle. He is not 100% yet, but he'll be out there. And Carrasco, which was the big thing, he just sustained a mild hip. Oh my gosh, a sustained mild right hip flexor strain. Holy shit! Got to read that slow.
It's late on a Tuesday, and both of us have all the energy zapped out of us.
Zapped out of us. So, anyways, that is going to be the recovery process for Carrasco. That's why he was in crutches. It's nothing more than that. People really jumped off the shark.
I almost did. And then I reeled it back in, but I almost did.
Reeled it back in his rights. But all these injuries we just listed, Savali, Johnson, Carrasco, does not sound like it's into season injuries yet. Clase too. But keep your eye on it because the Indians have already been banged up. So I would say keep your eye on these injuries.
Yep.
Because it needs to linger. That is when you start really backpedaling to other things. The other big 2 or 3 things is Reyes looks great. He had a great start to the season. He has lost weight. He looks thin. We talked about in the last podcast. He's definitely getting a lot of write-up.
Yep.
Karinchak is great. Everybody who listens to me knows I am so high on that kid. I might get a Karinchak jersey. He is going to be that good for the Indians next year. He looks nasty. And Lindor looks ready to roll. There's been many articles about him. He looks like he has got the bat and he's ready to swing hard. That guy looks like he is ready to play. Not just like ready to roll as in the season, ready to win big. He is motivated to win big this year. You can tell by his quotes. You can tell by his attitude. You can tell by his swagger. Lindor is ready to win now.
Expectations are that the Twins are going to come out and roll the Central, and I just don't think it's going to happen that way, Andy. I don't think that it's going to happen the way that it happened last season.
Nope.
And we've talked about it. Jose Ramirez, if he comes back with a season that he should come back with, that in itself is going to be a huge motivating factor for the rest of that team.
Yep. All I'll say about all this stuff when it comes to outside of the injury stuff and just looking at little tidbits, you know who had a great spring training last year? I don't remember either. These spring training stats, how much I love talking about them, don't mean a goddamn thing when the season starts.
Nothing.
So
all it is I mean, I'm just waiting on the season to start, brother. That's it. I mean, this is all just all this does is ramp up my emotions when it comes to opening day. That's it.
Yes. Here's one other thing real quickly about the Indians too. There's a lot of talk about the White Sox. People who know me, I've been down the White Sox forever. They're the most overrated team. I don't know what their under-over is, but I took them under, and they went under again. Watch out for that kind of talk, too. The Twins, the White Sox are going to get a lot of talk by other people. A lot of talk. And because Kluber is not on that lineup, coming out as a rotation man, I think that's going to get a lot more chatter for people to try to pick other teams, too.
Well, here's my possible hot take, depending on how you take it.
Mm-hmm.
This rotation has the potential to be better this year than it was before. And you think about that than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a rotation that had both him and Bauer.
Yeah.
And this rotation might do a lot better than that rotation.
Yeah.
You'd have never thought it off the bat. You'd have never thought it, but be ready for it.
It's true.
Be ready for it. Because Bieber, if Bieber comes out as solid as we all expect him to, it'll work out. And as long as Clev stays healthy.
Yes. Staying healthy. I can't stress that anymore. Staying healthy is going to be the beginning end of everything for this team. That is the only thing. The injuries for this team is already really early. By the way, not to rain on a parade, but it is a big injury day for us as Indians fans looking every day, seeing he's injured. Luis Severiano going out with Tommy John surgery for the Yankees is a big injury.
Yep.
So if you look at the bigger picture of the AL, that is a huge injury. The Astros, look, we can all say it. We know what they are, but that is a mess. To think that they're going to go big places, I think is very hard to reckon. The Indians, in a weird way, the Yankees are going to be the heavy favorite. And the Red Sox are always sniffing. And the Astros are the Astros, even with that scandal. But all these teams have little dings and dents. And Luis Severiano going out this early with Tommy John surgery.
Well, and that goes back to, and that comes back to this. Well, and we could also say this. I don't know what Vegas odds are on Aaron Judge doing a full season.
I know.
But they can't be that great. I mean, you're talking about these. Listen, if there's any team that can weather injuries, it's a team that Tito is leading. So if dinged up teams is the theme with some of these front runners. Take care of business. Listen, take care of business in your own division, and everything else will work itself out. Take care of the Central and let everything else work out.
The Yankees are the one team that has a checkbook, obviously, and then in the NL, there's Dodgers and Braves.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about Dodgers and Braves this year. And now, the Nationals won all.
A lot of Braves have spent money. The
Braves have a lot of pressure to win.
Yeah.
You don't talk about pressure to win.
Yep.
So the Dodgers, by the way, they need to win too. All right, to wrap it up, we'll get into more baseball on a different day. Andrew Berry also did a great interview on today's show. It came out on Tuesday. I would suggest everyone to watch it. I actually thought it gave a good intel onto who he is off the field, and it was really opening. It was nice. Definitely a faith-driven guy. Comes from a very big, loving family background. You can tell he has a family-oriented mind. Yes, he comes off as this football analytics dude, but he is family first. There's no question from all this piece that they did.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, very touching, and I thought it was a really, really good idea of who he is off the field. So that was nice. Today's show, you can check it out, Twitter, whatever else. I thought it was nice. It's 4 minutes, it's quick. But that gave a nice slice into who Andrew Berry is. And I thought it was a really nice piece, really well done. And then for all the Buckeye fans out there, like Jared Watson, Day is getting an extension. What a surprise. He's a good coach. So they
I thought you were going to talk about the win on Saturday against Maryland, because
that was a good win too on Sunday.
Was it Sunday? Why did I think it was Saturday? I don't know.
On Sunday. That was a good one for the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are ranked, and for Purdue, it's just not our year of football or basketball. Just please beat Indiana on Thursday. Please, just sweep the Hoosiers. It's a little victory in my little life. It's been a bad sports year for me so far. Brown's been terrible. Cavs are awful. Purdue football stinks. Notre Dame football was good. Notre Dame football was really good.
I've been watching the DC Defenders, so I'm doing okay over here.
DC Defenders? Is that the XFL?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cardell Jones, come on.
Who cares? Not even reading box scores.
Fun to watch. $24 tickets.
Yeah, exactly. So that is it. When you hear the end of this podcast, we're going to roll into the one where we go deeper into Myles Garrett and to many other things. So enjoy that. And then when we come back, I keep promising it, we will do year in review Browns, which would be good because we need to do that before the tournament starts. So there you go.
All right, stay tuned. Another show open kicking off right now. And we are live on Facebook and Twitter. Hello and welcome, Andy and Jared, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Craig, I swear to God, I'm not avoiding you. We will do the show. Quit calling me out on Twitter. Myles Garrett on ESPN, let's start with this, defends himself against the stuff that Mason Rudolph is saying. The racial slur stuff, it's still going on. So we're going to talk about it. Mike Tomlin defends Rudolph with a statement in an interview on First Take, along with Rudolph's attorney. Ooh, I'm real scared. Rudolph's attorney sending out a statement. Browns-Steelers rivalry is red hot here in February. Who would have thunk it? Speaking of red hot, rumors came out on Sunday during the NBA All-Star game that Beilein might be stepping down as Cavs coach. There are also rumors that these rumors were all planted to try to get him to step down early. We'll talk about that one too. Let's see. What else? What other crazy Cleveland sports news do we have already in just the past couple of days that we've tried to do a show? Clevenger, he's out for 6 to 8 weeks with an injury in camp. He's going to have surgery on his knee.
He already did.
Oh, he had it already. Well, great. There we are. So he's got the surgery. The good news here, Lindor said, I want to win here. I want to stay in Cleveland. I love that quote. There's more that goes to it. What a full glass of stuff this week when none of the three teams have played since Wednesday. Cleveland always in the news. So with that, let's start off with Myles and the latest remarks with Mason Rudolph. Go ahead, Andy.
Cleveland Browns.
Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody had a great presidential weekend. We'll do presidential trivia on the next episode. But for today, we're going to stick to Cleveland topics. I had a whole schedule built to do part one of the Browns review, but Cleveland sports, even when we're not on the floor, as Jared said, can't allow that to happen.
No breaks. No breaks.
So Myles Garrett, I understand why I did the interview. I thought he came off as believable. I thought he did a nice job. I liked him throughout the interview. However, Tomlin replying twice, along with Rudolph's attorneys, has swayed the popular opinion across the nation. Forgetting us Browns fans and Cleveland fans, it's swayed the nation. Here's the two things that have came out of this, in my opinion, since Myles Garrett's comments and then the Tomlin statement and interview and then the attorney's statement. Number one, no matter where you stand on this, us as fans or whatever else, I do believe Myles. I think it's a he said situation now, and I've heard that from many people, and I agree with that. It is a he said.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really tell who's being honest at this point because there's no audio. There's certainly no video that goes along with this, what happened. So it's really not 100%. You're just going on who do you believe in.
There's none that's been released, NFL.
We're going to get to that. Number two is the Steelers are firmly behind Rudolph. They give him post beams. When you have Tomlin coming out not once, but twice on camera to support a backup quarterback, it says a lot about where the Steelers are at. They are behind Mason Rudolph. No matter how we feel as Browns fans, they are behind Mason Rudolph. Okay, I want to get back to that at the end. Real quickly, though, to this. Now the bigger question is what's next, right? Before we get into the Myles Garrett stuff, I want to talk about what's next real quick.
Ain't shit next, but 2 wins for Cleveland.
So, rivalry's doing well.
That's where I'm at.
So, here's the thing. I'm actually going to put a new twist on this. This is how I'm going to come off on the show today. I think this could be a big moment for the Browns, and specifically one Paul DePodesta. Here's a chance for him, for a guy who's not been in the spotlight, for a guy who's not been, really don't know how to vibe for him, to really give him a chance to make a positive impact on the team and on the city and with the players. The Browns need to show some support, in my opinion, to Myles Garrett in the next 48 hours. Someone needs to speak on his behalf and help out. Remember, Freddie, and this is Captain Obvious, but I'm just stating this, Freddie Kitchens is gone. So you can't rely on the head coach. It's really tough for players to do this kind of thing. You need someone from a position of power. And that's why I'm mentioning Paul DePodesta. I think this is a chance for him to really take on something that's non-analytical, that's nothing to do about the draft, has nothing to do with rosters and everything else, to really gain some real love within the communities. I think if he could do this, Jared, I think this would go a long way of making people feel a lot better about DePodesta. Not that people are all negative about him, but I think it gives them some real edge and some real other things.
Right.
Now, we'll see what happens the next 48 hours. I think the Browns have already shown, and it's understandable to some point, they are really wanting this to go away. I think they're ready for this to die down. I think they're ready to get into the offseason and getting, more importantly, into what's going on in the combine. But I think, I'll state this again, I think the one thing that came out of this for me today, especially after Tomlin's second interview on First Take, the Browns have an excellent opportunity here to side with Myles Garrett, and they need to. Someone needs to support him and this young man in this situation. And you can't rely on the coach. He's not there anymore. So you need someone like a Paul DePodesta, because Andrew Berry wasn't here for this.
Something more than D wearing his hat.
That's my point. You need someone to show some faith in this guy and to really help him. I think it's very important because right now the national opinion is Myles Garrett's a liar. Myles Garrett went out there and looked silly. And Tomlin gave a lot, whether we believe whatever, Tomlin gave a lot of support and a lot of context to the Steeler note of Mason didn't say this. And it really puts Myles Garrett in a tough spot. A very, very tough spot. And I don't like it.
I want to know why this lawyer keeps Why is there this need to keep throwing a lawyer out there?
I know.
The lawyer spoke up at the beginning of all this, and now the lawyer's back again.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? I mean, let me just say it. Mason Rudolph's a little punk. He's a little punk. This is a punk move. It's a punk. Just putting his lawyer out there. I can't.
Here's the one word I took out of Mason Rudolph's attorney statement that I thought was very strange. He went into, obviously, he's liable at the end and everything you think a lawyer would say in a statement. But I thought this choice of word...
Yeah, that's what I mean, trying to scare people with a lawyer.
Correct. I thought this choice of word, though, was interesting. He said this, his claim is ludicrous. He didn't say his claim was false. He didn't say his claim was not true. He said his claim is ludicrous. And why he used that word is it's a very flimsy word, in my opinion. Meaning, you obviously take that as, of course it's not true, but he's not saying it's not false. It's not true.
Well, I mean, you could look at the he did say that Garrett has made the ill-advised choice of publishing the belated and
That's not saying it's not true.
False accusation. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the deal. We know damn well you throw a lawyer out there when you're trying to scare somebody. Ain't nobody scared. He's also trying to throw a lawyer out there for credibility purposes because where's Mason Rudolph? What's Mason saying? He's got a surrogate speaking for him.
I thought about that too.
He's limiting his own liability.
I thought about that too, because in something like this, if I were his attorney and I knew this wasn't true, I would actually not use the word ludicrous. I would say, this is not true.
This is a lie.
This is not true.
Say it's a lie.
He never says that. He says a false accusation. He says his claim is ludicrous.
And exposed to legal liability. Again.
Well, here's a great point.
Instead of saying, if they're going to call it libel or slander, and if they're going to really go after the fact, I mean, these are two public figures, which we already know the laws on, libel or slander change immensely when it involves a public figure. They're even harder to prove or to find someone guilty of, I guess, at the end of the day. So again, I'm trying not to say what I want to say because it's a word I don't throw around anymore because I think it's kind of insulting. It's just goes, but you know what I'm saying? He's a little, you know what?
Look, I'll get to Rudolph here in a second. I think, though, Myles Garrett, let's go back to him.
Yeah.
Here's some of the comments for people who haven't watched. I would suggest every Browns fan to watch the interview. It's on YouTube. OTL put the whole 7-minute interview up there. He claimed again about the racial comment that Rudolph gave. He would have been reaching for justification at that time. That's the reason why Garrett felt he did not need to release it right away.
Mm-hmm.
More quotes. Most NFL quarterbacks wear mics in their helmets. Somehow he lost his helmet and had to go get another one, meaning that somehow Mason Rudolph, I guess, had been told to Miles somehow he had switched helmets, so there's no microphone in his helmet. Okay, there were other guys who were mic'd up near me and near us who did not hear anything, who did not hear anything. There's another quote from Miles I thought was interesting, and I have been told there's audio that could have heard or could not have heard, but they don't want to say. Meaning to what Jared's alluding to, there's something out there. Who knows what's out there? And by the way, by this point, it might have been dumped and gone anyways. Here's the one comment, though, I thought said a lot about Myles Garrett. And this is the one that I thought this is getting lost in the muddle of everything else. The question was asked by Mina, what could you do? What would you say if you could talk to Steelers? I apologize. There's no need for that type of violence that is out of the game of football. I apologize for attempting to hurt someone. I hope Mason Rudolph as well. I know what I did was wrong, and I got what I deserved. It sounds like a guy who understands, hey, I deserved it. I did not deserve to play another game. I'm not saying I was done wrong. Not the case. That's a guy showing a lot of empathy for saying, hey.
That's a guy who's not using
correct
this as a crutch or an excuse
correct
for his behavior.
Correct.
So what other reason would he have to say it?
That's why I thought Myles Garrett came off very well in this interview, because I liked what he said. I hope Mason Rudolph as well. Not just a guy who's actually trying to show kindness and throwing an olive branch out there. I thought, obviously we all know you want to really get to the crux of why we're here. But in the back end, those things really do say a lot about Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And they're not being brought up, and I understand why. It's not the headlines. I totally get it. But those comments do say a lot about it. And I think those are getting buried on top of other things here. And I thought that said a lot about him.
And let's not forget this too, Andy. If I'm not mistaken, Myles didn't want this stuff to come out to begin
Correct.
with. The NFL let this stuff out, right? When he went when he went in front of the NFL to talk about this, or when he went to appeal it or whatever it was, the NFL let this information out about the racial slur. Not Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett didn't leak that stuff.
Here's a lot of things that have been coming out too recently. Rumors. They're all rumors at this point, but people can believe what they want to believe. A lot of the rumors have been heard. I know Grossi kind of said this today on KNR. So this is according to Grossi, for what he's been hearing from his sources, that the Browns and the organization knew about what was said immediately after the game. And that basically they were contemplating with Miles on how to handle the messaging, which is proper. Because when you say something like this, it's very, very powerful. And it's,
Right.
Michael Wilbon said today, it was a great PTI today. I usually don't catch PTI, but I caught today. Michael Wilbon said something, that I thought was very, stuck with me. He goes, anytime there's a racial slur being, debated upon what has been said, it's usually said immediately. It comes out strong. And in this case with Myles Garrett, he paused. I think he was wanting to make sure, because of the incident on the field, that he wasn't getting lost here about what happened. I really do. I think Myles Garrett paused because he realized as soon as he walked off the field, what was said was terrible and awful and can't be tolerated. But what I did was just as worse. And that's what I took out of his comments. I think this is a lot about, I think Myles Garrett is a good human being. And I thought he came off as very honest and raw throughout his interview. And that's why, to some of the things, now going to Tomlin, was Mason Rudolph's attorney. That's what every attorney is going to say. And they gave the hearsay. I picked the one thing out. His claim is ludicrous. That language tells me that they're still not sure whether this happened or not. And here's the other thing, too. And here's the biggest part, too, of this. Ready? If this really happened, don't you think the Rudolph attorney and his team will go after Myles Garrett? You'd have to think they would.
This is my point. This is my point. When lawyers go out front and go out and make statements and bark, it's usually because they're not litigating. You know what I mean?
They're telling a narrative.
Why wouldn't you just go and litigate it? Go to the courtroom. Go ahead.
Yeah.
File the suit. File the grievance. Whatever the hell you would file it. File it. No, you just want to go out and stand in front of a camera and represent Mason, which is still very strange. You're a backup quarterback with your lawyer out front representing you.
And that's where. And by the way, that's true.
Fucking silly.
But that's why Tomlin speaking and giving a statement gives the whatever we don't.
Here's where I'm confused, Andy. How did Tomlin get back on the Mason Rudolph defense train?
I don't know.
Because it looked not but a week or two later like Tomlin had abandoned that ship. I just went from a train to a ship, nonetheless. You get my point. I thought Tomlin, it sounded very much like the comments that Tomlin was making when Mason was benched, like he had lost confidence not only in his quarterback because of play, but there were some harsh words that made it seem like there's a little more to this right now. So how did he get back on that ship train?
Well, he did. And not only is he on it, he is leading the torch.
Cool.
He is torching the village of Myles Garrett.
Cool. Just like, what was that? Back to the Future 3, that train that the bridge wasn't built yet. The train's going to go right off the cliff.
Because what he said and how he said today, it gave credibility to Mason Rudolph. And it did not give credibility to us as Browns fans or us as Clevelanders. We don't care about Mike Tomlin, what he says. We really don't. I mean, I really respect Mike Tomlin. He's a fantastic coach.
He's also the guy who liked to walk out and stick his foot out and try to trip somebody.
Well, he's also been known to do that. That's correct. But at the end of the day, as a Browns fan, I see it as
fucking Steelers.
Right, correct. But even if I weren't a Browns fan, I watching Myles Garrett, I think Myles Garrett was giving a very honest interview. Mm-hmm. But Tomlin does give this credibility towards Mason Rudolph's claim into what he's trying to say. And for him to go on First Take, in his first statement, and out of his mouth goes, "I took offense to it, to be quite honest with you," end quote, commenting on what Myles Garrett did on the interview on OTL. He also went on to say the Steelers and the NFL did an investigation, and that was nothing found to go along with what Myles Garrett's accusation said. He also made it a point throughout the interview to say he was collaborating with the Browns, and the Browns never brought this up, vice versa, whatever else. And the Browns have been mum. So as long as they go mum on this, I mean, Tomlin's going to gain a lot of traction for Mason Rudolph stuff. And here's the thing that really bothers me now. Nationally, and especially on social media, it is not even close. Everyone thinks Myles Garrett's lying. Everyone. It bothers the hell out of me. Everyone thinks.
Well, I've seen the Jesse Smollett, whatever his name is, the memes.
And that's getting a lot of traction.
Yeah, well.
And it's not fair to Myles. I feel bad for Myles. I thought Myles did the right thing here. Now I'm going to go back to my opening thing here. Someone in the Browns needs to help support this young man. Someone needs to give him support. This is not going well for Myles Garrett publicly. On the field, he'll be fine. Everything else will be fine when the season starts. But right now, Myles Garrett's got to be like, what the fuck just happened? Once Tomlin did that today, the doors turned. Everything turned. It was like a pile driver today.
Okay.
It sucks.
I think there's more. I think it'll play out. It'll play out.
It's got to be quick. The Browns need to do something. I think Paul DePodesta.
I don't know that it's going to be quick. It's going to play out through the season.
I think that game.
Unless something leaks. Unless something leaks.
Well, I think someone from the Browns needs to do something to help out Myles right now.
I think someone in the NFL who's got control of the audio needs to do something right now.
Okay, so the other thing that came up today, which I really like, this is again from PTI, so I'm not going to steal this idea. They came up with the idea, and I said that's great. Kornheiser and Wilbon. Still a wonderful show, by the way. God, I forgot how much I enjoyed PTI. They both said this, and I go, God, I agree. And I was thinking kind of the same thing, but I won't steal it because I didn't think of so far as I did. The NFL needs to bring everybody in. Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph, Tomlin. I guess you bring in DePodesta. Maybe you bring in Freddie, even though he's for the Giants. And you bring everybody inside and be like, hey, what the hell happened here? Let's clear this shit up. Because the one thing it's doing, it is this story, which I am surprised, has not slowed down. In fact, for something I would never predicted a week and a half ago, it has gained steam. I think it's gaining steam.
Well, I'm just glad I'm going to get more use out of my GV Art t-shirt.
Oh my gosh, right? Right? But am I crazy to say Paul DePodesta? I think this is a great moment for him to take charge and to really say something here.
What do the analytics say, Andy?
And fuck the analytics.
What do the analytics say? I don't know if DePodesta is going to.
You know what you do? This is one of those times you don't get your calculator out. You start adding shit to your calculator. You know what you do here?
The hell, you got like an old register back there or something?
You like that? My kids left that here.
Old-timey.
I got the press. You like that? I got the press that out there. I thought I had the bell, but the bell's not on.
I didn't hear. You got to ding it.
I didn't hear it. There's no bell. But my point is, this gives him a chance to really make a big splash. Positivity. Can't talk today. Positive.
The P word.
Here's your chance, Paul.
Positive Paul. Positive Paulie.
Positive Paul.
Positive Paulie in Palo Alto.
Do I think
Close
he'll
enough,
do
right?
this? By the way,
he's out in California, isn't he?
No, who knows?
Where is he?
Do I think? Oh, okay, now I gotta get to this. Okay,
but that's my other thing. How's he going to defend him? He's not even there.
This is why Paul DePodesta needs to be in Cleveland, Ohio.
He's not even there.
This is why Paul DePodesta needs to be in Cleveland, Ohio.
There we go. Now
this is an on-the-ground situation.
Yep. Yeah.
This is not one of these conferences like, can you Skype at this time, Paul? No. You need to get your jeans on and your boots or whatever it is and walk over to Stefanski's office, walk into Andrew Berry's office, and all walk into the Haslams and be like, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
And by the way, if he's flying in, fine. Flying and walk over there. But that's why DePodesta needs to be on the ground in Cleveland.
Maybe they're just going to ignore it the whole time.
I think they are, and I think that's a mistake. I think DePodesta needs to say something. If I had to guess, gun to my head in Vegas, I don't think he says anything.
It's only a mistake if Myles Garrett doesn't sack the other douchebag 3 times.
Here's why I don't agree on one level. This sets a weird tone for this new team that hasn't even done anything yet. It already has a weird tone. And by the way, the coach that was there for this is gone. So you can't rely on him. Yeah. You got to do something here. Wake up! Wake up!
Why can't they ignore it, Andy?
Because this team is new and fresh with new ideas.
And maybe those are the new ideas. Maybe the new ideas are, we don't give a shit about this.
I know.
Pittsburgh can go to hell.
By the way, here's my point.
You know how it'll play out on the field.
Okay, with this caveat, if I were a Browns player and I think if we met Myles Garrett, we would really enjoy his company.
Oh, I guarantee it.
If I was a Browns player and I knew the Browns were going to help me support me in something like this that I thought happened publicly, a little piece of me would be bothered. And this reputation is not created by you and I. This reputation is something the Browns have earned over the last 20 years. Solidly. No one likes going to Cleveland and playing there. I said this. I heard this from too many fucking players.
Yeah.
And if you don't support your best player on defense, maybe your best player in the team, It says something.
Well, you know what else I'm surprised about is we saw when Miles came back, we saw on social media a lot of key names, Jarvis being one of them, Mac Wilson being another one, welcoming back Miles, right? Fired up.
Baker Mayfield, too.
Why haven't we heard anything from them regarding this? And maybe this is Miles saying, don't worry about it. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to say this one thing, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Here's the
maybe it's Miles. Maybe Miles is the one who's they've given him the lead on this and allowed him.
Sure.
Allowed him to talk to Mina, allowed him to say that just to make the statement because it was already out there. So let him be the one who says it and then leave it at that.
But once Tomlin got involved, everything changed.
Fuck Mike Tomlin.
You know what? By the way, you can say that's fine.
Mike Tomlin.
But are we scared of Mike Tomlin?
I'm not.
I'm not scared of him. Why can't Dean Podesta talk about this and defend him?
Because he doesn't give a shit about him.
Well, that's a problem.
Because fuck Mike Tomlin.
That's a problem.
I don't know.
It's a problem.
Maybe it is.
No, it's a problem. If you were at a job and you were defending yourself and your boss said, you know what, you're kind of out on your own to defend yourself in a boardroom.
Well, you're assuming that he's out on his own.
Has anybody from the
not
Browns
by choice.
publicly supported Myles Garrett up to this point after what he said?
I haven't heard anything.
Correct.
But that makes me believe that Miles is the one who says, listen, don't worry about it.
But I'm fine. But someone should still support him.
Yeah, agreed. It's funny, Andy, and I say, you know, I worked in public affairs, public relations for 15 years.
Yep.
I don't have a fucking read on what they're doing or why. I'm just trying to figure out from the moves that I see in front of me the possibility of what they might be trying to do. I don't know.
Look, and I'm going to.
You're right. You're right. At the end of the day, you're right.
Hey,
but I don't know that. I would have never allowed my player to go out there with this on his shoulders, this burden, and say, I got this. Let me handle it. Don't worry about it. We're good for me. I would have never allowed that. I would have never allowed that. But you can't say that this Browns team wouldn't do that. Because who the fuck knows?
By the way, we don't know if this was a Garrett decision or a Browns decision. We don't know.
No clue.
No clue. But
by the way, even if it's a Garrett decision, it's still a Browns decision.
But see, exactly.
So
we have not even gone to a fucking combine, to a fucking stupid draft pick.
We went from not talking about this anymore to elaborating on it last episode to having to talk about it today.
Okay, now to the overall comment too. I understand why Miles did this, and I thought it came off very fair. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns have to slow down on off-the-field news. I don't know how they do it. I don't know where they go with this. I don't know what they do. But I'm exhausted. I don't want to read. I get so nervous anytime I hear Browns are trending. I'm like, uh-oh. And it's just like, it goes on and on and on and on. And I'll tell you, I'm ready to get off the roller coaster. I'm ready for the Browns to say, you know what we did in the during, combines, whatever else.
Stop. Can't stop.
I mean, honestly, it is like
it's not gonna stop.
Roller skates on ice. We have no fucking clue where it's going to end. And it's fast. It's very entertaining. By the way, it's very entertaining.
Downhill. Roller skates fast. On ice on a luge
Oh my gosh. With no helmet.
No helmet.
None.
No helmet.
And by the way, we want you to go down. We'll let you go down the hill.
Rocket skates.
Rocket skates. Are you going to put any padding up for me? Probably not.
No. On a cliff.
It'd be entertaining though.
With a jump.
Yes.
With a jump into a pool that's frozen.
Again, I don't know if Paul DePodesta ever listens to this program. I think it's an excellent opportunity for him.
If there's anything Paul listens to, it's definitely this show.
Oh my God. He has to. Look at our last numbers. So Paul DePodesta. He
loves numbers.
He loves numbers.
He's a numbers guy. We got great numbers.
Let me get my calculator out. So look, The biggest
Is that
thing
a Fisher
here, though,
Price? Was that what that is?
it's Shop Market.
Shop Market.
Santa brought that for Carson.
You got a new spool of paper on there?
All right, let me show
Spool
you.
of paper. Is that a
Let
thing?
me show the kiddies out here. You can't see us on a podcast.
What the?
But
What
look
is
at this
that
thing.
shit?
Look at this thing.
That
All sorts
is-
of cool things.
That looks like a 1950s spaceship.
Thank you very much. 2000.
That looks like a prop from Star Trek.
You're jealous because it's
That might be.
It's what they use today in the grocery stores, isn't it? All right, so that is
Self-checkout is easy to use.
Yeah. Again, though, nationally, no one's with Myles Garrett. No one.
Well, let me
No
just
one.
say this about the state of affairs in America. I don't really care about what the country believes or doesn't at this point.
Well said. So, anyways, all that to be said, though, I think that's something we should perceive as Browns fans. Now, to Jared's final point, then finally we'll go to roster things. 28 minutes in, we talked about Myles Garrett. There were some cuts today, which we'll get to. But anyways, the last thing on this Myles Garrett thing, again, I think it's a big moment for Paul DePodesta. I think someone needs to support this young man. The other thing, too, I'll get to quickly. If there was never enough juice on the Steelers-Browns rivalry from a Browns fan perspective, holy fucking cow. I've never hated the Steelers more than I hate them today.
Hate them.
I fucking hope they lose every goddamn game next year. And I'll be there. This is like Astros territory. Like, I'm almost there. I'm like, I really hate the Steelers right now. Really, really don't like them.
We got Pete Icing commenting on Facebook, Andy, saying that he thinks that that it's been 50-50, the reaction.
I'm glad to hear Pete say that.
He's a Cowboys fan, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't really know that he knows anything, to be honest.
I've been listening nationally. I have been reading things on social media. I am not seeing 50-50, Pete. I appreciate you saying that. I'm not seeing that at all. I'm seeing more 90-10.
Yeah.
And I might be me wearing brown and orange glasses.
It might be. Maybe you're a little touchy.
PTI, though, said everything that I was reading on social media. And when you have two guys like Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser saying that, it gives you pause. Like, okay. And I heard this from other national people. Now, the OTL set did a nice job of defending Myles and defending what's going on here. But boy, oh boy, I think everywhere else it's been downhill sledding.
Yeah.
Everybody's believing in Tomlin, and after he said that, it gave it so much credibility to Mason Rudolph's account.
Uphill sledding.
And it really is.
New Winter Olympics.
But to Pete's comment, I'm glad to hear someone say that because I'm not. Are you seeing that? I am not seeing and hearing that.
I've seen a mixture, to be honest. I've seen it, but I haven't been looking as closely. It just hasn't been popping up in my feed as much. I didn't see anything. I had no idea. I'll be honest. I had no idea Tomlin came out and said anything. I had no idea.
Always big news.
Because I make a point in my life to never give a shit about anything Tomlin says anytime he's like, I don't care. I don't even acknowledge Mike Tom. Saying I've already said his name more in the past 30 minutes than I have in my entire life.
I hear you. All right. Well, all that to be said. By the way, I think he's a very good coach. All that to be said. And by the way, the one thing
do not sandwich this shit in a compliment to Mike Tomlin.
He's a good
Go
coach.
fuck yourself, Mike. We'll leave it at that. No.
The one thing, a comment I loved about Mike, I talk to the Browns. I know people in that organization all the time. Like, really? How many fucking people have changed his organization last 10 years? You fucking know all these new people in charge.
Who's been?
Oh, come on, Mike. I
been
heard
there?
that comment. I'm like, is he serious with that
Who's
shit?
been there longer than
Come on.
18 months?
They barely even know each other in the building.
Low-level staff. Paula Janitor's been there. Not to be confused with Paul DePodesta, but at least he's in Berea.
I like your thing. Positive Paul.
Positive Paulie. Positive Paulie.
Take this and defend your best player. Okay. We had some cuts today for the Browns. Not on the field.
Yep.
We're in
And
the roster.
what I want to know is, after we name these cuts, Andy, after we say this, tell me what any of this means to you.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Why don't you read them off? I'll give you my reaction.
Well, TJ Carey's one of them.
Knew that was coming. A decent player, average, okay. Decent. Knew that was coming.
Are you surprised with the injuries that they had in the secondary last season and with as thin as they ended up being that they did this?
I'm not, because they have put themselves in a position where they're cornerback and secondary heavy. And TJ Carey, you and I mentioned it a lot of times. He's okay, but boy, he got picked on at times too. And if we're being honest,
they targeted people that TJ was covering.
He ranked 97th out of 133 cornerbacks in the league. That's below average. I will be fair though. Again, the Browns had no pass. Once the Browns pass rush became nothing with Myles Garrett being out, Carey got picked on left and right. So you can take those numbers in mind. All that to be said, do you keep a TJ Carey for extra money? No, you don't.
Taylor at linebacker.
Nope. Goodbye.
Yeah, like what?
That's a nothing. Whatever. Here's the one. Demetrius Harris. This is one. Demetrius Harris got some real playing time for the Browns. And I thought this one was I forgot who put these stats out. Harris ranked 44th out of 44 tight ends with 20% of 130 targets.
The Browns have not been very strong at tight end.
They have not, and Demetrius Harris stunk. And I complained about him along with some other tight ends on this team. He was definitely one of them. He stunk from day one. I remember there was a moment in this, I'll have to go through the Browns review, where I was like, I have seen enough of Demetrius Harris. We can say goodbye. And then Cush.
Yep, Cush.
Boy, the strange ride of Eric Cush. Never really heard his name. To be fair, though, they got two established guards at this point, so Cush being gone is gone.
I'm usually a fan of Cush in general, but it's not going to apparently not playing out on the field as well as we would hope so.
No, I think the big thing is here they're starting to create, but what this did is open up $13 million in salary cap space, which is a good chunk.
And that's what I was going to go with. You've now, granted, they're gonna. This is future money they were going to need anyways down the road. I think there's more cuts coming.
Oh, there's a lot more cuts to come.
I'm curious. So, is there one cut? Because there's one for me. There's one for me. Is there a cut that you think might happen that would surprise people? That would shock people? At least a little bit. Because I've got one that I think is up in the air and could happen.
How about as you say that? Here's the obvious ones. I don't think they're gonna re-sign. These aren't cuts. They're not gonna re-sign. Oh my god, I forgot his name all of a sudden. The linebacker we've been talking about, we love. Why the fuck can't I remember his name all of a sudden?
Schobert.
Schobert's not gonna come back. I don't think Hunt's gonna come back. I think Kirksey's gonna.
I'm talking cuts though.
Yeah, Kirksey's a cut. I think Kirksey's gone. He's been injured riddled the last 2 years. I don't think you're gonna bring him back. All right, nail me with it. Who do you think they're gonna?
Olivier Vernon.
Oh, that's an easy one. Oh my god, why did I forget him? That's an easy one. He's gone. He stinks. He's gonna be the highest paid player in the team if they keep him.
Yeah, that can't happen.
No, he's gone.
I think that there's going to be I think there are going to be folks out there that are going to possibly throw a little bit of a temper tantrum over that one. But
I defended Olivier Vernon. I know. I love the trade.
Man,
I thought great things.
The potential was there.
There, he sucked so bad.
Sucked.
I can't even.
Olivier Vernon, though, that's the one that I think is gonna come next and is gonna surprise some folks. And
ready for this?
No.
Manuel Ogba had a better 18 than Olivier Vernon did in 19. And that says a lot.
Yeah.
That's how bad Olivier Vernon was. I mean, bad. There was many plays once Myles Garrett went away. It's like, you could set up a picnic table with the amount of time. The Arizona Cardinal game especially. I don't remember Olivier Vernon playing that game, but that was embarrassing. Good call. I keep forgetting that. Olivier Vernon's gone. Has to be gone.
I think so.
The Browns need to. Boy, I know. Okay. And then I'll be done with the Browns for today because there'll be plenty of time to talk about this team. 37 minutes in, and it's February. We're talking about the Browns this much.
Isn't it crazy?
It is.
Andy, it happens every week.
Fucking day. It's like water in the ocean. It's just everywhere. The Browns and their news. So here's the one thing I would say about this whole situation. And I know everybody's going to talk about we need draft tackle. We need the Browns need a second pass rusher to help out. They need a second defensive star to help out.
Offensive line, defensive line.
Huge.
That's where we're at right now. Offensive line, defensive line, then secondary, then
and
wide.
Linebackers.
It's weird. Well, see, this is tough now. How are you going to prioritize? You need a wide receiver who's going to actually be worth drafting.
And by the way, if you cut Kareem, if you don't resign Kareem,
you got it. Yeah, you got it.
Now you got to draft a running back.
Yeah, well, Dontrell Hilliard, we're good with him, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead. We're good.
I will save him for the Browns review show. I'm sure he's a lovely man. Couldn't
Which, by the way,
cold.
The Browns review show was supposed to start tonight.
But you know what? Not in Cleveland. Not in Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, I literally told Jared on, I think it was yesterday or today, I was like, the rundown for this show, for a show in the middle of February is so fucking long.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, no, we're good with Dontrell Hilliard. By the way, that Pope guy, take care. I mean, there's David Njoku, nice, goodbye.
Oh, I don't
But again,
know.
those are all positions that they're going to need to refill badly. We'll have to see what time tells. And by the way, probably know Hollywood Higgins coming back.
Who was in Njoku was that was an analytics pick, wasn't it?
It was.
I think Njoku might get another look.
Great.
Especially because of the injury.
Perfect. Oh, good.
Njoku might get a look.
Oh,
might happen.
Wonderful. Can't wait. See enough of him for a lifetime. All right, so we'll bring him back, and he'll run a good 4 yard out in the 3rd and 8.
We have a fullback now, Andy, so that helps. That takes a little bit of the load off the line. I'm sorry, off the tight ends.
That was good. So outside of this story that we led off to, it should be quiet with the Browns up until the NFL Combine.
Nope.
But
nope.
we all know.
Nope.
Something will happen.
Yeah.
It's the Browns. Something will happen.
Someone will be doing blow off a prostitute's back by Wednesday.
All right, let's turn the page to my guy, my coach.
The Cuyahoga's on fire again, Andy.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
My coach, cue up Randy Newman. My coach.
Yes.
My coach, John Beilein.
The irony of all the words you said last episode
I'm leading this
to where we are right now.
I'm leading this fucking story off. All right, look. I fucking look like a fucking asshole.
This is a fuck heavy episode, by the way.
A lot of AJBC awards coming out today on the 17th of February. I just went on a tirade on the last podcast about how my love, and I do like Coach Beilein a lot. I think he needs more time and everything else. Then this story broke during the All-Star game. Yeah. Beilein and the Cavs have discussed the possibility of the coach stepping down before the end of the All-Star break. Beilein was expected to reach a decision by tonight. Nothing has been announced yet. I guess I should check again, but I don't think anything's been announced yet. That was reported by Wendy and Woj during the middle of the game. I texted Jared in the middle of the All-Star game saying, holy shit, John Beilein may not make it through this game, let alone through the actual season itself. Okay, so you can read the story. There's a lot of other things. He's unhappy, all this stuff. I got one big point here, and then the rest of it, I'll go regurgitating some stuff, but here's the one thing. The one thing I should have accounted for more if Beilein doesn't want to be here. Now, if Beilein doesn't want to be here, Beilein's got to go. This job needs someone who's committed to young players and to going through the shit. And if Beilein's not committed to this, I love you, John. I think you're the nicest guy in the world, and you will be a great coach. Hopefully not in the Big Ten, because there's too many good coaches in that league right now. But for what it's worth, you cannot be wishy-washy. And if you're wishy-washy and you don't know if you're happier, then I got to say goodbye. And I love you, and I think this could work. I'm the only fucking guy. I still think this can work. I still think I would give this a chance. But you know what, buddy? If you're not into this either,
well,
see ya.
Not to bring up the age thing, but if that's the case, you got to think that this is just a guy who's like, and I say this in the most lethal weapon way I can, I'm too old for this shit. He doesn't want to deal with the attitudes. He doesn't want to deal with. There's clearly been friction with players and him.
Look,
there's clearly been friction.
The one thing I will not,
as a college coach, he had to know coming out of college to move to the NBA that this was going to happen. If this were a younger college coach coming into the NBA, then maybe that makes more sense. Maybe it's somebody who's got a little bit more to prove in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Beilein's a guy who might at this point just be like, oh, if they don't want to fucking learn from me, then fuck them. If they don't want to play under me and they don't want to play under my rules, then fuck them. So I don't know, but you have to think that he came into this already thinking those things, already going through the possibilities. Was he blinded? I mean, was he, was he just blinded by the opportunity of it all?
The money?
Or the money of it all, yeah.
I think the big thing
is Kobe Altman really that persuasive? Like, is he,
or Dan Gilbert?
Dan Gilbert wouldn't have really been.
Well, that was before his stroke.
Yeah, but how much? Well, yeah.
I mean, Dan Gilbert hired Beilein.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. My bad.
So here's
scratch that from the record.
I think that plays a part in this too. But I think the other big thing here,
right? Look, because if Dan Gilbert was more available, maybe there would be.
I think this would be a little bit more softer. But look, all that to be said, I'm not naive. This season has not gone well. Even though I knew the Cavs were going to be bad, this has gone worse than expected at times.
They got 13 wins.
But by the way, that's not bad. See, that's the thing. That's not that bad. People make that out. It's like, it's not. I mean, we thought the Cavs were 14 wins is about right at the All-Star break. I mean, we didn't. What did people fucking think? That's been overblown.
I know.
Here's what's not been overblown. The blow-ups with the inner circle of your players has not been good. I like John. That has not been handled well all year. And it hasn't just been Kevin Love, or hasn't just been Tristan Thompson, or hasn't just been like Garland at times reported, or even Sexton. Everyone's contributed to this. Okay.
Yeah.
So Beilein,
every single one of them. It's been a fucking carousel of shit.
It's been a shit show. And let's be honest, the jumping off the cliff moment was slugs and thugs. And whatever people think of that, they actually came out and won the game the next day. But I should have known better. That kind of comment does not die quickly, and it hasn't. And that really has tainted everything. And so we like to say in the business, it is your out. Meaning, like, if you go up there, like, you know what, John, ever since really that moment, the locker room hasn't quite felt the same. And you know what? It's not good publicly. Clearly, it's not. Even though the team won the next game, it hasn't been clean. Beilein, I do think, here's the thing that kills me. I'll go this to my grave. I think Beilein can do this job and do it well. But if he doesn't believe in himself, and the team doesn't believe in him, and he's having shitty moments behind the scenes that's gone publicly, Jared, I can't clean this up either. I would still tell him till I'm blue in the face, fucking try. Try. I think he can do this. But if he doesn't believe in it, Jared, he's got to go. He's got to go.
I have no idea who's going to fill the void.
Bickerstaff, everyone's pointing to him. He'll be a young coach, but everyone's pointing to him.
Okay.
And by the way, his dad was a longtime coach, and he's also involved in the organization, so Bernie can help him out.
Yeah.
But I mean that by the way, he was supposed to be the heir apparent anyway, so I guess you just speed that up process even faster. But the one thing I will warn:
how many coaches do the Cavs still have on payroll?
Oh my God, I know they were
if
talking
that
about
happens
that today. I know. Blatt.
Is that going to be 3?
Blatt, Ty Lue, Scott. Is Scott still on? I forget. Or Larry Drew. I'm sorry, Larry Drew.
More than the Cavs have more former coaches on payroll than the Browns do.
It's pretty close. Again, the AJCB Awards is going to be great this year.
Holy shit. Holy shit. These are things that you don't just think about right off the top, but how many?
A lot.
Wow. The amount of money being thrown away on coaches that have been thrown away.
Unbelievable.
It's just Cleveland sport. Listen, if you want, it's like hitting the lottery, Andy. If only you could just get a job as a Cleveland head coach for either the Browns or the Cavs, you're set.
Oh, yeah.
You're set.
Oh, yeah, you'll get paid.
You take the long-term deal. Stefanski signed a 5-year, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. They all do.
Didn't I tell you he was signing a 5-year? I told you he
Yeah.
was signing a
Oh,
5-year.
well, look, 2016 was wonderful,
Sweet.
but we all forget that Ty Lue was the midway change in that whole season. I mean, we're just it's crazy. Now, to double down on the Beilein avalanche, Sexton said this in Forbes magazine. Came out with some quotes. Quote, "You know how he is. He is very detail-oriented, and it's detail, detail, detail." His next quote, "He loves details." Uh-oh. And he, when you hear the same word 4 times, it's usually what we like to say in the psychological field. He's making a point. John might like details. Okay, here we go. Here's more from Mr. Sexton. "And he always wants us to make sure that we are out there. We are giving it our all. College coaches, you know how they are. They want you to go 1,000% every second of the day. He's been in college for 20 years. More than that. We've had to tell him, like, hey, coach, we've got 82 games. We can't kill ourselves."
Well, on top of that, the body of an 18-year-old breaks down a whole lot slower than the body of a 22, 23, 24, 32, 33, 34. You can't do that.
Well,
Beilein does that. He does it.
Look, I am the one guy with a stick trying to hold the avalanche.
Can't hold with that. That quote says a lot.
I'm about ready to tell Coach Beilein, hey, coach, you and I need to start creating an oxygen vent. The avalanche coming on us. Sexton's comments, he had some more comments also video-wise that kind of similar back up there. Look, I don't see this working out. I think Beilein's gone. And everybody knows it.
Colin Sexton's quote says more. I think that quote right there is my personal nail in the coffin for this Beilein run. Because I will tell you this, Beilein will not change.
No.
Will not.
No.
Will
and
not.
By the way, I think that's
not going to change.
Here's the funny thing. I think his way is right. But if you can't sell it to your team and you can't sell it to your players, and you can't sell it publicly, which he's lost public favor. And if you can't sell it to Kobe Altman, who's basically running the team right now, goodbye.
Andy, this whole 1,000% every second of the day, 82 games, we can't kill ourselves. That is a lot of insight into what's going on in the practices, behind the scenes.
Yep.
It's
not good.
There's only, I mean, even the best players, we know this, take breaks.
Yes.
This isn't a team full of like Dellavedovas, you know, like Dellavedova's in his prime. That's not what this team is. So
no.
I don't, Andy, I have no reason to, I'm not even going to be mad. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to be mad. I'm disappointed. I'm sad it didn't work out. We know all the reasons why we thought this would work out, or it should work out, or it could work out, and the positives behind it, because this is a young team and they need that type of leadership, and they need to have some of this stuff carried over from college and whatever, the detail oriented, the X's and O's and all that stuff. Look, I get it, all that stuff. It does matter, but you're right. If they're not willing to listen, it ain't going to work. If he can't sell it, if he can't wrap the pill in cheese.
Yep. I think that's the key here. If you, and you said it perfectly, if you can wrap the pill in cheese, you got it. He couldn't sell it. And it's okay. You can't sell it to the players. If your front office doesn't support you, which the Cavs don't sound like they're supporting him. If your public opinion's sour, slugs and thugs does not help. If you're not getting support from some of your other players that could help you, if your assistant coach is a would-be heir apparent, it's not good.
Yeah, well,
it's not good. And by the way, most importantly, if your heart's not into this job, then you gotta go.
I'm gonna feel real bad if his heart is into it, and he's.
I know.
Oh.
Here's
That's
the
all
one.
Right. I just hope. Let's put it this way. I hope everyone lands softly.
I do too. I like John a lot.
You know, because
John a lot.
Let's talk about this real quick, Andy. All of this upheaval, all of the past 2 years, everything that's going on. It comes from LeBron's gone, you know, and it's going to be tough. So Cavs fans, just look, it's going to be like this. I'm sorry. be grateful. Go back and rewatch Believe Land with the new ending over and over again. And
Attaboy.
And hang in
Attaboy.
there. That's where we're at.
Before we transition to the Indians, one storyline that is getting buried from the Cavs I want to bring up quickly, then I'll move on. For all you fucking Colin Sexton haters out there, he had 21 points in the Future Stars game.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of compliments.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Sexton looked pretty good out there.
Yeah.
Played well. Maybe it's... I'm just saying. Sexton had a good game.
Does Kevin Love want to be a player coach?
It's a good question. Maybe.
Andre Drummond, player coach?
Hey. Put on some Pete Rose red stuff and just say, don't bet against your team, and here's how you do it.
Why the fuck not?
I don't know. It's not a bad idea. Boy, at this point, oh, man. I was so high on this Beilein thing.
I know.
And it's gonna.
I know.
By the way, I'm wrong, and he's about ready to get flushed down the toilet.
It's all right.
But Sexton had a good game. That was good. It's getting buried in all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's been a fun Cavs and Browns show. Francisco Lindor is saved today, though. Let's get to the Indians.
Cleveland Indians.
Before we get to on-the-field injuries, which seems to be a daily occurrence of the Indians, a few days into, a day and a half into spring training, and Levender's out. Before we get there, I thought Lindor had a big moment today. Just before the show started, comments flying out about Lindor. Feeling good and talking about Cleveland as he always does, but I thought he had some different things here today that made me feel really good. Lindor's feeling good about Cleveland. What do you have to say? Here we go. Quote, it's going to be a fun season. Mm-hmm. It's going to be it's going to go back to our motto. Underrated, then all of a sudden, everybody loves Cleveland. I'm excited. I can't wait to show the world what we have in our city. I'm looking forward to it. I love telling our doubters to shut up. What's your approach to this season? Someone asked. Quote, no, my approach this year is winning here. I want to win here. I want to stay in Cleveland. This is home. I'm not playing to get traded or to put myself in a good spot or to get traded for numerous amount of players. I'm playing to win. Cue up the trumpets. I want to win here. I'm focusing on what I have in front of my toes, and we have a great group of guys in the clubhouse. Great coaching staff. I want to spend the whole year with them and win with them. I want to bring a championship to the city, and that's what I'm focusing on, end quote, as doves fly.
Andy, fucking gets us meter just fucking exploded.
I mean, if you can't get fucking excited about the Indians baseball in a day where it's like, oh my gosh, you love Miles, but this Miles Garrett story's not going away, and Beilein's fucking, he's out. Yeah, we're cutting players, everything. Boy,
Andy.
Clavenger's already hurt. Thank God for Frankie Lindor.
Andy.
Thank God.
Come June, I will live in Ohio. I will live in Northeast Ohio again for the first time in 15 years. Take a guess at how many games I will be at this season.
Well, I'll give you a geography lesson. Do you know they play in the corner of Carnegie, Ontario? You know they play in the corner.
Oh, my wife knows. Because I throw that at her all the time.
You can tell, Priscilla, they have a great bar up at the right field stands.
Bro, what the irony of that is, Andy, is that when I was a kid, my dad would get those mezzanine seats out in right field, and that's where we'd sit. Cheap and easy. Great seats right out there in right field. We would sit there under a little shade. Worked out perfect. It was a good spot. Spot.
I sat everywhere. I love sitting everywhere.
Listen, I've sat in the bleachers, but my dad, that's where we get the tickets. I watched CC throw his first game. It was either his first game or his first game at home against the Red Sox. And I believe Roger Clemens, and I think they won 3-2 or something.
I saw Cliff Lee pitch a complete game
from those seats. And my point is, the point that I'm getting to, that I'm dragging out, is that as an adult now, to know that it is a 2-level bar, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's like God is always looking out for me, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He knows that I love that right field spot.
That's awesome.
And that's where we're at. So
That's cool.
I will be there in the district, $10 seats, get your free beer. I hope they keep that same promo.
I will. The Billmans are going out for the 4th of July. We will be lighting sprinklers or sparklers. I can't talk. Lighting sparklers out
Close
during the
enough.
Twins game on the July.
Light
4th.
sprinklers, turn on your sparklers, run through them.
God, it's been a long fucking week.
Yeah.
It's only Monday.
Today's Monday.
A long fucking week.
You need an intermission? Do you need an intermission?
We're good. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna power through this.
Listen, I'm fired up.
I
think this
for
team
work at 10:00 at night, and I can't tell you how much I'm pissed off.
Well, then we got to wrap this up, brother.
I know.
Listen, all I know is that I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I will. Oh, it's been so long. It's been so long, and I'm back, and I'm gonna be there, and it's
gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, better ending than watching Clevenger in that last game at Nats Park. Although that same game, I was watching the Browns beat the shit out of the Ravens, so that was good too. Anyway,
it's one of the wins of the year for the AJC.
That was it. Yeah.
Antonetti also added some things
to
the comments. Quote, he's everything you want to be in a player, blah, blah, blah. We love Francisco to be here long term, blah, 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 blah. We have, and our ownership has made meaningful efforts to try to do that, and so has Francisco. He and his representatives continue to express to us publicly and privately they'd like to stay in Cleveland, end quote. I have not heard that comment in a while. I'm going to repeat that last statement. He and his representatives continue to express to us publicly and privately they'd like to stay in Cleveland. Now, that was a great line. I've not heard that in a while. Now, to the follow-up. More Antonetti. Quote, now, how do we make that happen? Where it gets difficult. It's a really hard situation. It's not because of a lack of desire on our part or Francisco's part, but more when you look at the economics of baseball and the realities of building a championship team in a small market, it gets really tough. The interest is there. The desire is there on both sides to try to get something done. Whether it's possible or not, we just don't know, end quote. For all the Dolan stuff, it's nice to hear this, that they're trying. They're making efforts to try to see if he can come back.
I will tell you this. The Dolans will be getting a lot of hate if it doesn't happen after this. These statements say all that needs to be said.
Yes.
The Dolans need to make this happen. They can bitch and moan and piss and complain about poor me all they want. It's not going to make a lick of fucking difference with the fans. And it might. I mean, it got pretty contentious with the whole Jim Thome leaving thing, right? Right. That was the last time we had somebody that was that, like, where you're like, what the fuck? Keep them here. Now, I know that
Thome and Manning were bad. Both bad.
Bad. I think we're going to eclipse that with Frankie if this doesn't work. Now, that's one. Now, here's two. Revenue sharing, shit like that with Major League Baseball. This shit has got.
It's got to change.
It's got to change. And now here's the third thing. Major League Baseball is already in a. This takes me to the biggest problem. This is like 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever the hell that game is. Major League Baseball is fucked at this moment. People are bitching about the moves that they're already making, the changes, right? They're already the mandatory 3-batter thing for.
I love that rule, by the way.
Listen, I know, but here's my thing. It doesn't even matter whether it's a good rule or not. People are bitching about it, and they're bitching about it because Major League Baseball is fucking up a good thing. Major League Baseball is not doing. We talked about it last season. They try to be hip and cool, and they want to do the whole shoot thing or whatever the hell they were doing, and they want to change this. Listen, they're doing it wrong. There's a lot that Major League Baseball is doing wrong. There's a lot that they're doing it wrong. And nothing bigger that highlights how Major League Baseball is tone deaf than the Houston fucking Astros. This shit is getting out of hand, Andy. It is making me sick to my stomach. The comments regarding if anybody throws it out to shut up. Are you kidding me? That's what you think. That tone deaf, Andy. The league has a big problem. It has
And
a
by the
big
way-
problem. And yes, I know I went from Lindor signing with the Indians long term to the league in general, but it's all tied together.
Real quickly on that.
I am livid because I equally hate the league. As much as I hate the league, I love the Indians.
All right. So I agree with you. Nothing to add. Nothing to add. It's been a shit show.
It's a complete shit show.
Now, here's two things from it. One, the Red Sox have not come out with their report yet. I will warn everybody. The Red Sox better be careful. Might be holding their ankles after they're done. Because they should be taking note about the Astros.
Well, yeah, you know what? They come a long way from a booted ground ball up the middle.
Again, Alex Cora's gone, but that doesn't mean your scandal's gone. That's one.
That's my point.
That's one. Two.
Don't
Red
get
Sox
cocky.
The Red Sox go down. Ooh. And I would love for that to happen. Two. I agree with Jared. Here's the one thing that can flip it to make it positive. And if I were the MLB, I would be talking about this in their inner offices. For the first time, you have a unified front of everybody hating a team.
Everybody
hates them.
Was it Mike Trout? Was it Trout that came out and made his comments too?
Trout, everyone piling on.
There's $400 million.
By the way, it's not stopping. It's piling on.
It's not going to. It's not going to. And Major League Baseball does not understand that. The commissioner does not understand that. This is not going to stop.
I know, but here's where you flip it. This is where you gotta get a PR marketing guy. You know what though? If I'm being truthful, who do I want the Indians to beat? Of course, we want to beat the Yankees, Red Sox, but I really want to fucking beat the Astros. I would go to every one of those games and bring metal trash can day, and be banging trash cans, all those other stuff. You're going to see an influx of energy. Baseball normally does not have things like this a lot outside of your Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, that kind of stuff. You're going to see a pumping up of hatred. In a sport that doesn't have a lot of it compared to the other two, they're going to have it. A lot. It's going to be interesting to see if they can flip that into somewhat of like, hey, we're going to take everything we got negative here and try to make it into more like, hey, because I'll be honest with you, Jared, I am fascinated to see how badly the Astros do this year. And I will be into watching their highlights in the first few games. I won't watch their games, but I want to watch to see their highlights.
There's a cockiness to it, Andy.
Oh, they're fucking awful.
There's a fucking and not even just the team, the league,
the owner,
the league,
everything.
The league.
Again,
the fucking league isn't even handling it.
What's going to happen with the Red Sox? They get the same report.
Andy, your signal is so shitty right now, by the way.
No, it's fine. I just paused. Can you hear me now?
Andy, you're momentarily frozen in time and sound like a transformer. That's where we're at.
That's great. That was the whole goal. Can you hear me now?
I can. A little bit.
Okay, good.
I can hear you going in and out. I tried to make my screen smaller and all that shit.
You know the great thing is about Cox Cable? You pay a $75 fee. Probably shitty internet.
That's all right. Well, I think I'm paying FiOS like $120 a month. And
oh God. All right, let's go on quickly. Okay, that's MLB. All right, Clevenger did do a partial tear. It was left in the meniscus at the team's spring training facility. He's already had surgery on Friday of last week, so he's expected to return to Major League activity in 6 to 8 weeks. Do baseball math, probably not going to see him until mid-May to late May, maybe June.
Yeah.
He's going to do a whole spring training. Francona, it's not doomsday, end quote. 1, we know he's a quick healer. 2, he's going to be able to keep his arm conditioned the entire time. Yeah, I'd prefer it didn't happen, obviously, but he's going to be okay, end quote. So Francona did give a lot of positive juju, which I thought the team needed. Yeah. There's some also, look, real quickly in Clevenger, that's amazing. We've hidden this story. This is a big news story. first came out. This tells you how much other shit's been going on in Cleveland. The good news is for the Indians is they have Plutko. Plutko could easily fill in that 5th slot. You move everybody up, Bieber, Carrasco. They do their things that they can do. You already got Plesac, you got Savali, now you got Plutko. So you got a starting 5.
Yep.
Just no more injuries, though. And the only thing that I don't like about this is the Indians have been injury-riddled way too much. It's not anybody's fault. It's not anybody, whatever. But the Indians have already kicked off 2020 with another injury.
Well, this did solidify something that I think you and I both already knew was coming. Shane Bieber's the number 1.
Yeah.
Shane Bieber is the number 1. Let's hope Clevenger can heal up and return to form. Lord knows he needs to. Don't be meeting up with your ex at Cheesecake Factory. Just stay away.
No, we're not going to talk about her today. Look.
Let me slide in a joke real quick. That's all I'm doing. Just sliding it in. Just going.
I don't even like
putting it in there. Yeah. There it is. It's done. It's over with.
All right. So there's some other tribe tidbits. Naquin cheese bites. Naquin continues his rehab.
No cheese snacks.
Cheese balls.
She doesn't want your cheese string.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
It goes in many different directions.
Should give you the cheese.
Oh. And on and on.
Nobody's walking away happy with that, right? All right, go ahead.
We don't ask Baker. We don't want him to slow down. That's not the object. But you don't want a guy to go too fast. These things have to heal. He's doing terrific, end quote, about Naquin's injury. It sounds like he's going to be ready around April sometime, mid-April. But Naquin's injury is progressing and going through its normal stuff. So for people who are wondering, that's where he's at. I don't think you're going to see him opening day. I just don't. He keeps thinking he will, but you can tell from his comments, mid to late April for Naquin is when he'll be back on the field.
Naquin is heading into that same territory.
He's Lonnie Chisenhall. Always injured.
And what's his face? Who's the other tall guy in the outfield that we've got now? That wouldn't go in. That wanted to rehab on his own, do his own. Didn't want to do the summer.
Oh, Zimmer.
Yeah, Zimmer. Bradley Zimmer.
Okay, here's some other tidbits. This is all from Manny Bell. If you read Manny Bell's articles and get all these things.
Yeah, Mandy's
so all
solid.
the following
She's
four
so
things are all Manny Bell tidbits. Let's since you let him off. Bradley Zimmer, Francona. What's going on with Bradley? Quote, we said, hey, we'll be honest with you. Where we think you fit in and what we think you need to do, end quote. Another quote from Francona about him. He understands that. We're not trying to get in his way of being a good player, but we also want to be honest about how things we see, end quote. He's basically telling Zimmer, we have some sort of plan for you, but because you're not playing ball with us, we don't think you're playing all the way ball with us. We're gonna put you in a special square peg.
Perfect.
I think Zimmer's on his way out.
That's how it needed to be, Andy, and we all saw it coming. Good.
Emmanuel Clase hit 100 miles per hour. He's throwing 100 miles per hour, throwing balls, Francona said. And he looks, this is the last thing I love. It looked heavy. His ball looked really, really heavy. Clase is going to be great. Jake Bauer, some comments from Francona. I give the kid credit. He took it to heart what we said. Sometimes when guys struggle a little bit, I think people forget that this guy actually might be a pretty good ball player. Don't forget that. He has a soft spot for Jake Bowers. Mm-hmm. And you can tell, and another thing that Francona kind of generally said is, we're going to ask for more reps from him in the outfield, and Bowers agreed, and Bowers wants that. So maybe that will help Jake Bowers out. It sounds like Jake Bowers understands as much as we said it too. He struggled last year.
Yeah,
it sounds like he's coming in with a real positive attitude. And then for there's always one of these camps, either one way or the other.
I think both of us were exhausted with him, to be honest.
Jake Bowers stunk last year. Sorry.
Yep.
Stunk. And he had... I want to rip on a guys. I know he's coming into the new clear head, but he stunk in 19. And not just with the bat. He had some dubious outfield errors at times too. Okay. There's always a guy in camp who looks shockingly heavy or light. This year, that award goes to Franmil Reyes. He lost 18 pounds over the winter. And people have been raving about him, how good he looks so far. And by the way, the Domingo...
18 pounds, you know what that says to me? He can throw them hips. Bat speed is going to be insane.
It's insane. Everyone is raving about Franmil Reyes so far. Raving about him. Everybody's raving about him so far. What I'm reading.
Dude's going to be ready.
He's going to be ready to go. Domingo Santana is in the house. He's going to be playing for the Indians. Something I've learned quickly too, Jared, is I think they're thinking more him DH and more Reyes in the outfield. So people should keep their eye on that. It sounds like they're definitely programming Santana, Domingo, the new guy. He's going to be the DH, and Franmil Reyes is in left field.
Losing the weight, that'll do it.
Another couple other things I read interesting. It's all on Mandy Bell. You can go to her. She is so. We're gonna have her back on.
I know,
and she knows that. A couple other quick things. Big year. We talk about Zimmer. Also a big year for Greg Allen. And Daniel Johnson is still everybody loves, but how he's going to fit in the outfield, I think it's going to be interesting. I just don't think he's going to have a spot.
Yeah.
But everybody still loves him. And they're really hoping Luplow can keep up what he did last year. I mean, again, if you really look at the Indians outfield's the most debatable thing, but we all know Oscar Mercado's in center. DeShields is going to make this team somewhere. He's going to be on your bench. And then if you got Luplow, Naquin, Bowers, and Reyes, I don't know if you probably don't have room for Daniel Johnson. Again, now they're in AAA, which isn't horrible. But I think it's what we're really looking at for the Indians right now. I think we touched on the Indians a lot. Let's quickly wrap up on everything else. One of my all-time favorite Cleveland Indians moments is Tony Fernandez's home run in 1997. He hit one of the biggest home runs. It was such a funny call from Herb Score because he got so excited, as all the Indians did, that as Tony Fernandez hit the ball out into Camden Yards, he goes, and the Indians are going to the World Series if they get 3 more outs. Because he got so excited about the Tony Fernandez home run. He sadly passed over the weekend. He had some kidney issues. Sad to hear that. Yeah. Tony's one of those players you don't, if for people who don't remember, he also had some other big moments. He had a big swinging bunt moment in a couple of big playoff games, but that home run was everything. That was one of the biggest home runs in the biggest spot. It was a 0-0 game. Nagy, Messina, back and forth. Wheel play happened in that game, by the way, too. But the big hit was Fernandez, and he'll always be in my heart. Always be in my heart. Alomar had a nice article that Manny Bell wrote up about his passing. So that's sad to hear that. I think we touched enough about the Astros today. I was going to do that for the wrap-up, but we've wrapped that up in a nice little bow.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I'm gonna be losing my shit about this with Major League Baseball throughout the season.
Oh, sorry, it's gonna be a story.
It's not gonna stop, and they don't get it, and it's just sad.
Finally, I thought this was interesting news. I thought this was very interesting.
This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. But go ahead.
Kyrie Irving was elected as VP at Players Association's meeting today, per sources. So Kyrie Irving gonna be leading the players. No comment. I mean, maybe he'll do a good job. I don't know.
Have any of these people ever listened to this man talk? Any of them?
Just to fire him up.
He's an idiot. He's a spoiled brat and an idiot.
Also,
I love you, Kyrie. Eventually, I know I love you, Kyrie. Eventually, your jersey will be hanging in the rafters in Cleveland, and your number will be retired, and that's great. And I don't care.
Will he show up?
We're gonna have to wait and see the numbers. What are the odds on that? We'll see.
I thought that was.
I'm sorry,
though.
Kyrie is just he is not. He's one of those people that says a lot of words and tries to. I'm not being nice. I'm not being nice, but it's true. He's not as smart as he thinks he is. We'll just say that. He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
The other big thing that popped on quickly, Kyrie as a VP Player Association is very strange. I'll leave it at that. I don't know him off the floor at all. Maybe he's a good negotiator, but I don't know. I think it's a very strange move. I'll leave it at that. I know. Your face says it all. I'm trying. He hit such a big shot.
It was the biggest shot ever. Dude, the shot, the block. Oh my God.
It was great.
If only he didn't talk and do interviews and think the world was flat and cry.
Remember that?
And claim that Boston was a better sports town.
My Boilermakers got trumped by the Buckeyes this week. That sucked. That was a big kick in the balls for Purdue fans.
I'm sorry about that.
They got to beat Wisconsin. It's fine. Buckeyes earned it. Both Billmans, Tom and Patrick, my dad and brother, were at the game, and they gave it a big thumbs down. But for Buckeye fans, you should be excited. They trumped my poor Boilermakers. Yes, EJ, what do you fucking expect? He's a flat earther. Yes, I know. The best thing was Kyrie
Comments.
later denied all these comments, even though he said it on the record. So he's just.
I know.
He's your VP, though, of the Players Association. What could go wrong?
Bro, listen. Crazy apparently is whatever. I mean, that's what everyone likes at this point.
The Big Ten, I will keep saying this. The Big Ten basketball games are great. I watched some more over the weekend. Maryland's really pulling away with the conference. And for those who do watch college basketball or want something to preview March Madness, Baylor plays Kansas at Saturday at noon. I will be watching that. It's 1 versus 3. Baylor has quietly been the number 1 ranked team for a while now. As a big game, it's in Waco. Watch it. That would be my one key. I think that is a huge game. It kind of gives you a test for everything else that's going on. And for people who aren't watching, paying attention, Dayton currently right now is seen as a number 2 seed in the tournament. And by the way, first round games are in Cleveland this year.
He's Andy Billman. No, we're not there yet. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond. On Twitter @CLE and Beyond. Shoot us an email, andyandjarid@gmail.com. Jared, of course, JARID. We are brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. And subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Check out the website, andyandjarid.com or clevelandandbeyond.net. And finally, he's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and Beyond. The Thunderbirds, once again, with a hell of a flyover at the Daytona 500.
Bad crash at the end. Hope that guy Newman's okay. Bad crash at the end.
At the end of the race, we need to clarify that. The flyover went over flawlessly.
No.
Andy, I need to let the audience a little secret. The flyover, the planes, instead of just doing a straight flyover, that you do this delta burst, right? Mm-hmm. My buddy Jake and I suggested that like 6 years ago, and they've been doing it ever since. They did it first over Las Vegas at the Las Vegas.
That's
Motor
cool.
Speedway.
You should get credit for that. Do you?
Only when I give myself credit for it, like right now.
My last note, then you can wrap and say goodbye, which you already did. Finally, for the 3rd time, unless more stuff happens, part 1 of the season Browns review coming. Maybe Thursday or Friday if Jared and I are both available.
Unless news breaks.
I fucking have tried in this goddamn sports. I love Cleveland. It just won't. I mean, last thing. Who would have thought on a week with no Cavs games and the Indians and the Browns are on break? Major news stories. Even before I came on the air, the Lindor, major news story.
Lockout number 2. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and Beyond. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Talk again soon. Take care.
Oh, thank God I got my 10 o'clock conference call. We made it.